Notice where the body moves as you breathe. Notice how fast or slow the breath is right now. The temperature and texture of the air. And then begin that familiar process of slowing down and deepening your breath. Preparing for the breath to help guide you through the movement practice. With each breath in, feel yourself expand, not just on the front side of the body, but also side to side and into your back ribs. Feeling that expansion gently press into the mat beneath you. And with each exhalation, take all of that outward expansive energy and draw it back into your very center. Good. And once you feel settled in this breath, we're going to start warming up through the spine and beginning to engage the core, specifically the lower abdominals. So we're going to take the arms up and overhead with the palms facing the ceiling. And this is the action you're going to be doing on the inhalation phase of the breath. And then on the exhalation phase, you're going to be bringing your arms down toward the mat in front of you with the palms facing the floor. Okay, so that's what's going on with the arms. Before we get into the core work with that, let's keep the arms overhead, palms facing up. And we're just going to try and do spinal waves or cat-cow here lying down the back. So on the inhalation, press your sacrum into the floor and try and arch your lumbar as much as you can, creating kind of a tunnel underneath your spine. And on the exhalation, tuck your tailbone toward your heels and flatten your low back against the ground. And you can even press through your heels and lift your hips up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to continue back and forth. Inhale to arch the spine, opening up the rib cage. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, flatten your low back, engage your lower abdominals. Good, once more just with the spine. Inhale to arch. Exhale to flatten. Good, so now we're going to get the arms involved with the movement. And when we exhale and flatten, we're also going to be bringing the arms forward and rolling the head and shoulders up off of the ground. So you're engaging your full abdominal wall, okay? So let's start in a neutral position. The arms can be down by your sides. On the inhalation, raise the arms up and overhead as you arch your back. Exhale, bring the arms down, palms to the floor as you roll up, belly button down toward your spine. Again, inhale, arms overhead, arching your lower back. Exhale, tailbone to heels as you roll up and reach the fingers beyond the shins. 3 more. Inhale, arch, arms overhead. Exhale, flatten, roll up, engaging the core. Inhale, lie down and arch, reaching over. Exhale, roll up, reaching forward. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to hold here in the exhaling position. So your head and shoulders are off the mat. Tuck your chin toward your chest as you reach the fingers beyond the shins. Keep your right leg the way it is, kind of in the bridge shape. Straighten your left leg out in front of you and let it hover off of the mat about an inch or so. Hold here as you breathe. Good. Place the left foot down in the bridge shape and reach your right leg forward, hovering it just above the mat. You're still in that contracted position, reaching the arms forward. Good, place the foot down, lie your head and shoulders back onto the mat, lay your arms down alongside your body, and now roll all the way up into bridge pose. Good, take a few moments here. Doesn't have to be your deepest, most back-bendy bridge of all time, just enough to help lengthen your abdominals, to lengthen the hip flexors. Take one more deep breath in. And exhale, roll your spine down. Good, hug both knees into your chest, wrapping your arms around the legs, just rock a little bit back and forth, massaging your lower back and your sacrum. Good, and then let's keep the right knee here. You can slide your left leg down on the mat and anchor it to the floor. Hold on to the back of your right thigh and reach the right heel up toward the ceiling, just testing out your hamstrings, seeing where they're at today. Try and find active energy in your quads on both of your legs. And then we're going to take a lift here as well. The next time you exhale, feel your belly button draw down toward your spine, tuck your chin and roll your head and shoulders up as you walk your hands higher up the leg, maybe toward the calf or ankle or the heel, creating a forward fold here. Bring the nose and knee closer together. Even as you're breathing deeply, you're still drawing the navel down toward the spine. The low back is in full contact with the floor. One more breath in. Exhale and walk your hands down, rolling your head and shoulders back to the mat. Keep your right leg up in the air, and now open the arms back out to the side in that T position. So we're going to do some slow, controlled leg raises here. This is going to primarily isolate the hip flexor strength, but it's also a core stabilizer, especially if you don't let yourself swing your leg when you return. Okay, so we're going to try and keep it really slow. On the inhalation phase of the breath, lower the right leg until it just about hovers above the mat. It doesn't quite touch. And then exhale, nice and slow, bring the leg back to the start. Good, again, inhale, slowly lower, let it hover just above the mat. Exhale and return. So take 3 to 5 more of these at your own pace. And if you feel any straining in the neck or in the top of the shoulders, you can bring your arms down and grab onto the edges of your yoga mat just for a little bit more leverage and strength so that your neck doesn't try to assist this. Good, take one final round. Once the leg comes back up, bend the knee down toward you, give it a little hug toward the upper body, and then release that right leg straight down on the mat. Feel free to adjust your pelvis at all or the way you're lying on the floor so that you feel even. And then engage your right leg on the mat and bring your left knee to your chest. Good, take a few moments here. And then hold on to the back of the thigh and reach the left heel up toward the ceiling, just seeing where it's at tonight. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, navel down toward the spine, roll yourself up, walking the hands higher up the leg, trying to bring the nose and knee closer together. One more inhalation. Exhale, walk it back down. Keep the left leg up in the air, and again, open the arms or grab the edges of your mat. Same order with the breath. The inhalation is going to see us lowering the leg until it just hovers above the mat. And the exhalation, super slow and controlled. Bring that leg back to the start. Again, inhale to lower and hover. Exhale to return. Take 3 to 5 more at your own pace. Keep the right leg firmly connected to the mat, trying to keep the core of the body really stable. The movement is just in the left leg. Take one more. And bend the knee once you're at the top. Give it a little hug toward you. And then release that leg down to the floor. Good, adjust your hips or your body position if you need to so your spine feels aligned. And then bend both knees again, arms down by your sides. Let's rise up into a bridge pose once more. This time you can tuck your shoulder blades a little closer together once you're up in bridge. Tuck your tailbone toward your knees and try and elevate your hips a little higher this time to really stretch out the quads and the hip flexors. Take about 5 deep breaths. Good, one more inhalation. And exhale, roll down. Good, separate your shoulders. And let's find one block. This will be our last core activation here down the back before we come up and start moving a little more. You're gonna take your block on either the narrow or the medium width and squeeze it in between your inner knees or inner thighs, wherever you get the most strength. Bring your knees to your chest. And you have the same 2 options with the arms. They're either out to the side in a T position, which is a little more challenging, or they're down by your sides and you're grabbing your yoga mat for a little extra strength. So from this position, lift your feet so you have about a 90-degree bend behind your knees. Lightly squeeze that block, and now move your thighs forward in space, away from your upper body, until you feel a little bit of an arch in your lower back, and like you start to feel the challenge in your abdominals. So that distance is going to be different for all of us, but we want to be at least in line over the hip joints, if not farther away. So we're just going to hold here, practicing deep breathing even when the abdominals are engaged. And if at any point you need a break, you can bring the knees back to the chest, or you can put the feet down on the ground. Try and maintain that strength not just on the front side, but also in your lumbar. And 3 more breaths. With your last exhalation, bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a little hug around the legs. You can get rid of that block and rock a little bit side to side, massaging your low back. Good, and then please place your feet down on the mat, separate them about as wide apart as the mat, and take some windshield wipers back and forth with the knees. Should feel like a nice way to release your hip flexors and your quads again. So a lot of core work not only engages the lower abdominals, but it shortens those 2 regions as well, hip flexors and quads. So it's always nice to do something that not only stretches out your abdomen, but targets those muscle groups as well after you do a round of core. All right, bring your knees back up, hug them into your chest again, and let's rock on the spine a few times to come up off the back into a seat. Maybe 3 or 4 of these. And once you're sitting, find a cross-legged position. You can adjust yourself as needed so that you can be nice and tall. We're just going to take a seated twist here. You can turn to your right, take the right hand behind your hip and cross the left hand over to the right knee or outer thigh. Every time you breathe in, feel yourself get a little taller. And every time you breathe out, you can press gently at the knee to help you rotate. One more breath in. Exhale and unwind. Switch the cross of your legs so the other shin is in front. Sitting up tall, now twist to your left. Left hand's going to prop up behind you. Right hand crosses over to the left knee or thigh, helping you twist. One more inhalation. And exhale, unwind. Good, all right, let's come into table pose from here. Find yourself toward the front of your mat on hands and knees. Just gonna get my hair out of the way. All right, let's do some spinal waves here before we get moving into some sun salutations. On an inhalation, begin by lifting the tail, chest, and chin. And exhale, tuck the tail and chin as you round the back and spread the shoulders apart. Again, inhale. Exhale. And just continue on at the speed of your own breath. Good. The next time you exhale through the rounded spine, it can be your last one. Go ahead and return to a neutral table pose. Walk your hands slightly farther forward, spreading the fingers widely. Tuck the toes and send your hips to the heels, and then up from there into downward facing dog. Feel free to move around in this first down dog, kind of getting into the hips and the hamstrings or the calves. Whatever feels good for your first time in this pose tonight. Good, and then let's look forward. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, step up to your hands, ending up in a forward fold at the front of the mat. Slight bend to the knees here as you let your upper body hang down over the legs. You can hold on to your elbows if you like and let your shoulders melt. And gently sway your upper body side to side like a pendulum. Good, you can let that swaying motion stop. Let go of the elbows and let the arms dangle down. Bend your knees a little more deeply and draw your belly button in as you roll up through ragdoll all the way to stand. Good, once you're upright, find a nice tall posture at the top of the mat. And we'll take a few rounds of sun series, starting with series A. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to dive forward over the legs. Hands to shins. Inhale, flat back. Bend your knees deeply. Exhale, step to plank pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower to the floor. Good, point your toes. Inhale, arch up to cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes under. Inhale, push up to your knees. Exhale, hips to heels, and then lift from there to downward facing dog. Stay here and breathe. On your next breath in, look forward. As you breathe out, step to your hands. Hands to shins. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Open the arms. Inhale, rise up, reaching over your head. Exhale, release. One more round of series A. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Bend your knees. Exhale, plank pose. Step it back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, push up. Exhale, back and lift. Take about 5 breaths here in downward facing dog. Sorry, I can't see my clock anymore. Here we go. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, reaching overhead. Exhale, and release the arms. So let's take Sun Series C. We're gonna, instead of just doing it in the traditional way, when we step back to the lunge at the end of one side of the body, we're gonna add on a few poses from that low lunge. All right, so let's inhale to begin, reaching the arms up. Exhale to dive to your fold. Inhale, flat back. And then bend your knees, exhale the right foot to the back of the mat and place the knee down, low lunge. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up, low crescent lunge. Exhale, release. Inhale and lift your back knee high. Exhale to downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale and shift forward into plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, release it. Inhale, back up to the knees. Exhale, back and lift. This time to hold your down dog. On your next breath in, raise your right leg high into the air. Look forward as you exhale and lunge the right foot up in between the hands and take the back knee to the floor, low lunge. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. And then exhale, take the elbows out to the side like cactus arms at a 90-degree bend. In this position, feel your tailbone tuck down toward the floor slightly. It might feel like you're not as low in your lunge, but it should give you a good stretch in the psoas and the quads. Take a deep breath in and elevate your ribcage and chest. And then as you exhale, twist to your right, using the strength of your abdominals to rotate your core. Good. Inhale, face forward, keeping your legs stable. Exhale, rotate the upper body to the right. Good. 2 more times. Inhale, forward. Exhale, twist right. Last one. Inhale, forward. Exhale, and twist right. Stay in the twist. Just lean down and put your left hand on the floor inside of the foot and reach your right arm straight up. Spinal twist. Good. Nice deep, low belly breathing. Feel your abdominals expand outward when you inhale and contract them deeply inward when you exhale. Good. The next time you breathe out, release your right hand to the mat. And let's inhale and raise the back knee up, high lunge. Exhale, shift weight into the back foot, and then take a big step forward, ending at the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back position. Exhale, forward fold. Open the arms, inhale, rise all the way up. And then exhale, dive right back down. Inhale, flat back. Bend your knees deeply. Exhale the left foot to the back of the mat, knee to the ground. Inhale, arms forward and up, low crescent lunge. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, raise the back knee. Exhale, step to down dog. Inhale and shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower to the ground. Inhale, find cobra pose. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, push up. Exhale, back and lift. This time to hold down dog. Feel that low belly breathing. The next time you inhale, raise your left leg up into the air. Look forward, exhale, step that foot in between the hands, back knee to the floor, low lunge. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up for low crescent, and tuck your tailbone down toward the floor slightly to get a deeper stretch in the quad and psoas. Good, let's take the elbows out to that 90-degree bend like a cactus. Elevate the ribcage and chest, and the next time you exhale, twist to the left, using the strength of your abdominals to rotate from the base. Good, inhale, forward. Exhale, twist left. Good, inhale, forward. Exhale, twist. Last two, inhale, forward. Exhale, twist. Inhale, forward. Exhale, twist. Stay rotated. Just lean down and put the right hand on the mat. Left hand reaches high. Spinal twist. One more breath in. Exhale, release the left hand. Inhale and pick up your back knee. Exhale, weight into the back foot and take a big step to the front of the mat, folding forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Open the arms, inhale, rise all the way up to stand, reaching overhead at the top. And exhale, release the arms to your sides. Just take a few moments standing here in mountain pose. You can close your eyes or take a fixed focal point. Try and release any tension from the shoulders and the back of the neck as you feel your arms actively reach down your sides. Once the breath feels a little slower and the heartbeat has come down, you can float the eyes open. Good. All right, from here we're going to take a little bit of balance work. So if you'd like to come off of your mat and closer to a wall, feel free to do that so you have something to touch. We're going to start with tree pose, but we're going to take a little hovering version. So this is again going to target hip flexor strength, which we need in conjunction for core stability. So we're going to be taking the shape of tree, but not letting the foot actually make contact with the standing leg, at least for the first few breaths. And then after some moments hovering the foot, then you can let the foot connect, and it should feel like a nice release from that effort to find the typical pose. All right, so let's stand on the left foot first. Feel your hip, knee, and ankle line up. Engage every muscle in the leg and the hip, and bring the right knee up to your chest. You could use a hand to help if you like, or just on your own. And then open the right knee out to the side as widely as you can. Point the right toes down toward the floor and bring that foot as close to your standing leg as you can without letting it touch. Good, take your hands wherever is helpful for your balance. Breathe deeply. Good, and then you can make contact either down at the calf or reach down with the hand to help bring it up to the inner thigh. Good, now finding your typical tree shape. See if you can feel an equal amount of energy of the foot pressing against your leg muscles and those leg muscles contracting and pushing back against the foot. Good, last breath in. And exhale, let it go. Good, move around in any way that feels like a good release for your joints and your muscles. Alrighty, so now your body kind of knows what's coming. Right side, hip, knee, ankle alignment, so find that stability. When you're ready to balance, bring the right knee up toward your chest, left knee. Open it out to the side as widely as you can. Point the toes down toward the floor and bring it close but not touching to your standing leg. Good, so really fire up outer glutes, external rotators, and feeling your internal hip flexors here contract to keep the height of the leg. Good, everybody, and now find that contact. Either just place the foot down at the calf or reach down with the hand to help bring the foot to the inner thigh. Good, find those equal but opposite energies. Good, really nice work. Slowly release. All right, move around in any way that feels good to you right now. All right, now I'm going to face the side here. We're going to take a variation of dancer pose. We're going to focus primarily on the lengthening of the iliopsoas and less on the back bending aspect of the pose. So I'm going to be keeping my heel when I reach back for it quite close to my hip. If you're really in the mood for a back bend, you can by all means take that, but I'll focus just on the lower body. So we were just standing on the right foot, so we're going to stand on the left foot again. So feel your weight shift. Bend your right knee like you're trying to kick your heel behind you, and then reach your right hand back and grab whatever part of the foot or front of the ankle maybe that you can get. And for many of us, the knee has to sweep out to the side in order to get the leg, or to get the foot rather. Try and bring the right knee closer to the midline, so closer to your standing leg. And then from this position, you can even reach around with your other hand to feel your sacrum. Can you tuck your tailbone down toward the ground and squeeze your left glutes? And that's going to probably bring your right leg farther forward in space. And you should get a deeper stretch here in the hip flexors. Good, so find your balance, and then when you're ready, reach your left arm high to the ceiling, and then start to lean your upper body forward as you let your right knee lift up behind you. I'm not really taking a back bend for now. I'm focusing on keeping the heel close to the hip so we get that good quad stretch. Good, go ahead and rise back up. Gently let go of the foot or ankle and release the arm. And again, move around in any way that feels good for your joints. All right, second side, standing on the right foot. Find that alignment for the lower body. Bend the left knee behind you. Reach for the top of the foot or ankle and bring the left knee closer to the midline if it went way out. Good, feel your tailbone tuck down toward the floor, squeezing the right glute. Strong stretch for the left quads. Good, when you feel ready, reach your right arm high to the ceiling, and then lean your upper body forward as you let the left knee and thigh lift up behind you. So you're just kind of pivoting on the axis of your right hip joint. Tilting, pivoting, not really sure what the word is, but the action is there in the hip. Good, let's inhale and come on back up. And exhale, release, let go of the foot. Move around. Good. All right, that's it for our balance work tonight. We're going to come back to the front of the mat, so if you moved off, go ahead and find your place again. And let's just start kind of like the beginning of a sun salutation. Inhale and reach the arms high. Exhale and dive over the legs. Hands to shins. Inhale, flat back. Bend the knees. Exhale, step to plank pose. Good. We're going to hold here in plank for a moment. So find good alignment with the shoulders over the palms. Tuck your tailbone toward your heels. Feel your lower belly draw up and in. And that actually might have you or cause you to round your upper back and shoulders a little. So now see if you can move your heart forward in space. Good. 3 more breaths here in plank. Last breath in. Exhale, take the knees to the floor, separate them wider than the hips, and sit back into child's pose. Take any version of this pose that you like. Let your arms and shoulders settle. And And softly close your eyes. Try and slow down the exhalation phase of your breath. Good. All right, from here, we're going to return to plank pose. So take a moment to set yourself up, step your legs back, and then from this plank position, bring your right knee to your chest on an exhalation breath, and now dome and round your upper back. Good, inhale, step it back to plank, straightening the spine. Exhale, bring your left knee up to your chest, dome and round your upper back, nose to knee. Good, step it back, straighten the spine. Once more per side. Exhale, right knee to chest as you round, hugging in. Inhale, step it back and straighten. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, straighten. Good, lift up to down dog just for a moment. And then take your knees to the floor, table pose. Good, adjust the position here. If the palms aren't underneath the shoulders, we're gonna come into threading the needle, nice twist and a way to stretch out the abdominal wall. Let's inhale and raise the right arm high. Exhale, sweep it underneath you, bring the shoulder and the right side of the head to the floor. Move your left hand over on the mat and press against it to lean yourself back in space. You can stay here, or you can float your left arm up in the air and let the palm fall back in space, creating that gentle sense of twist. If the left arm is up into the air, let's release it back to the floor. Press through that hand to come off of the right shoulder and reach it up again, counter twist. And then exhale, take it back to table. Good, other side. Raise your left arm up as you open to the left. And exhale, sweep it underneath you, bringing the left shoulder and side of the head down. Then move your right hand over a little. Push the ground with that hand to lean back. Nice deep breath here. And feel free to float your right arm up if you like. Good, if that arm is up in the air, gently release the hand to the floor, and we'll all press against it to come off the shoulder again, lifting that arm up toward the ceiling, and then release. Good, all right, from here, we're gonna come into pigeon. You can either just slide the right knee forward directly from table, or you can come into down dog if you want. I'm just gonna go from table and drag my right knee up in between the hands and slide the left leg farther back. And then open the right knee out to a 2 o'clock position and settle the pelvis down a little more. Good, when you're ready to fold, carefully walk your upper body forward and down any amount. You could always prop yourself up along the way, either with blocks or using your elbows and forearms. Feel free to close your eyes. We'll be here a little longer than some of our more active postures. So take a moment to scan through your body and see if there's any effort that you could let go of and really give into the floor. The floor is what is maintaining your body shape, and there's very little that you need to do. And when you're ready to come out of the forward bend, start to lift up. Prop yourself up onto the fingertips, and let's stay upright for a moment, taking a gentle back bend in this pose. If you can, place your right hand just outside of the knee and your left hand just kind of outside of the edge of the foot here. Push down through the floor to help you elevate your ribcage and chest more, and try and slide your shoulders down and back, gently arching the upper back. And last breath in. As you breathe out, lean forward and put the hands back down in front of the leg. And you can just start walking the back knee closer to the front of the mat. And then take that front leg and slide it out, finding table pose again. Good. If you want, you can take some spinal waves or any other kind of type of circular movement here in table. And then from a neutral table or down dog if you prefer, let's bring that left knee up in between the hands, wiggle the foot out from under the hip, and slide the right leg back. Good. Open the left knee out to the side at about a 10 o'clock position. Maybe ground the right leg farther as the pelvis settles down, and come into your fold here for this side. Respond to how this side is feeling in the moment, and not to how far you went on your other side. So there may be a subtle difference, or you may be balanced here in pose. When you're ready to come out, start to lift up and come back onto your hands. Bring the right hand outside of the foot and the left hand outside of the knee if you can. Come up on fingertips as you push the ground to elevate your ribcage and chest, and glide the shoulder blades down and back. One more deep breath in. And exhale, lean down, putting the hands in front of the shin. Start to walk your back knee closer to the front of your mat again, and then unthread that left knee, finding table. Feel free to move around or come into one last down dog if you like. That's where I'm gonna go. Good. All right, and then let's have a seat directly in the middle of the mat. And we're going to finish up with one more posture that's going to target the core, kind of knitting together everything that we've done so far with our hip flexor strength and lower abdominal engagement. So we're going to take boat pose. Sit with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, and hold onto the back of your thighs or knees. Use that hold to help you sit up as tall as you can. Feel your shoulders draw back and lean back until you can balance on the base of your pelvis and start to lift your feet up as high as you can. Good. Contracting your abdominals, but still breathing deeply. See if you can let go, reaching the arms forward. If that causes you to lose your stability, you can always hold the legs again. We're doing this just once tonight, so take a few deep breaths, knowing that you don't have to repeat it. Good. Last breath in. Exhale and release. Good. Lean your hands behind you, resting on the palms. Separate your feet about as wide apart as your yoga mat and drop the knees back and forth like windshield wipers. The next time that your knees drop down to the right side, let them stay there, really pressing the inner left knee down to the mat. And then come off of your left hand as you twist to the back of your space, putting that hand down somewhere near the right hand. Good. Push down against the ground to help you twist deeply from your lower back all the way up the spine, revolving the chest and head at the top. One more breath in. Exhale to unwind, facing forward. Take the left hand behind you and pick the knees up, and then drop them over to the left side of your mat, pressing the inner right knee down. Good. Come off your right hand and twist to the back of your space again, adjusting your hands facing so they support your shoulders as you press the mat to twist. One more deep breath in. Exhale and unwind. Good. Pick your knees up, bring them together, and hold onto the back of your legs. Drop your chin to your chest and slowly roll yourself down to the ground. Just one vertebra at a time. Good. Once you're down on the ground, adjust your feet, planting them just underneath the knees. Make any adjustments you need in your back so that you feel settled and relaxed on the ground. Good, and let's end with happy baby pose. You can bring the knees into the upper body, separate the feet wider than hip width, and take hold of the outer feet or outer ankles. Feel free to rock back and forth or any other movements that feel good to you. And when you're ready to release, bring the feet down and the knees back together. Give yourself one little hug around the legs. And then you can let it go. Good. Get yourself comfortable for Shavasana, final relaxation. Feel free to put on any extra layers of clothing if you feel cool. Make sure your body is nice and comfortable. Once you feel settled, gently close your eyes if you haven't already. And take one last deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let that gesture of release help you to let go of the deep breathing practice now. And let your natural breath return to your body, no longer controlling speed or the depth, just letting it be as the body relaxes. Slowly bring your attention back to your breath. And in your own time, begin to move a little bit in your body in whatever way feels good. And eventually bend your knees and roll to one side, curling up into a fetal pose and pausing there briefly to notice how you feel right now. And with as little effort as possible, make your way back upright to a comfortable seat, keeping the eyes closed. Find a tall posture and take a few deep cleansing breaths here. And then join the palms together in front of your heart, and we'll end our practice chanting Om one time. Take a deep breath in. Om. Exhale and gently bow your head, acknowledging yourself for making the time and space to practice this evening and expressing gratitude to your body. And thanks for being here. Have a wonderful night or rest of your day. Hope to see you again next week.